All righty, good evening, Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. This is Angela Jordan Perry, and my purpose-driven life is to make a positive impact on thousands of homeschoolers worldwide. So thank you for joining with us tonight. We have an exciting interview with a sweet friend of mine, Melissa Aldrich. So Melissa, are you ready to make it happen?
Yes, let's do it.
Good. Okay, so we're on YouTube and we're going to get started. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Girlfriends Guide to Homeschooling. This is Angela Jordan Perry, and I am turned up for this evening's interview with Melissa Aldrich. And Melissa is ready to make it happen. So let me tell you a bit about her. Melissa Aldrich has been a wife of Derek for almost 12 years. And the mama of twins of Aeralind and Bronwyn. And there are second graders, and her son, Sedryn. He is K5, first to fifth grade. Everything else he is reading on K5 reading, first grade to fifth grade, everything else. Wow. She says they have homeschooled for 2 years, but last year through online public school, they've enjoyed exploring a Charlotte Mason approach this current year. In her spare time, Melissa enjoys her photography. She's an amazing photographer at Quiet Grace's photography studio. I give her a chance to talk about that a little bit more. She's out of Greenville, South Carolina. She's an advocate for children with Down syndrome. She's learning to be a bridge for racial reconciliation. She enjoys hiking. She dreams of traveling the world with her little ones, and I hope with your husband too. You didn't say that.
I'll take it if he gets time off.
But anyway, so Melissa, I have given Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling, all of our girlfriends, a brief bio of you, but please tell us a little bit more and how you actually got started with homeschooling.
Okay, so I have 2 daughters, like I mentioned, they're twins. Aeralind is my introverted, kind of shy, sweet personality, very empathetic, and they both went to public kindergarten. But about mid-year, Aeralind was having like some attitude problems. She's super introverted, so she was just like uncharged when she got home from school, and she was being kind of rude to the whole family. Mm-hmm. And she was also doing a little bit of manipulating the teachers. So perfectionism is her sin of choice. So she was doing, getting one teacher to spell one word and the next teacher to spell the next word on the problems, and doing math and stuff. And so we started praying, like, maybe we should homeschool that child. And she came home probably about a month later and was like, would you please homeschool me? And I was like, okay, done. Prayer answered. Her twin, Bronwyn, looked us in the face and we said, I think we're going to homeschool Aeralind next year. Would you like to go home or come home with us? And she said, you will never homeschool me.
Whoa. And how old was she when she said that? What grade was she?
She was still in kindergarten, so the very end of kindergarten, okay. 6 years old. And I said, okay, great, go back to public school for the next year. She changed her tune, however, about halfway through first grade when she realized, when they were teaching the concept of time. So she realized that everyone was asking me, how long does it take you to homeschool Aeralind? And I was like, well, 2 hours most days. And she was like, wait a minute, I'm in school for 8 hours. I'm coming home right now. So she did come home, and Sedryn was in preschool that year, and he's now in kindergarten, although, like I said, he's a little bit of everything. He was multiplying today. It's sort of ridiculous. I don't understand this kid. Like, at all, do not understand my son. So that's kind of how we got started, and we didn't love online public school. A lot of it I did love as a jumping off point. I would highly recommend it if you're considering homeschool but scared or budget strapped, just to give it a try, because you do have that teacher to fall back on, but there were parts of it that I just didn't agree with. And so we were like, okay, we have the confidence now, let's give it a try. So we've kind of moved to Charlotte Mason and enjoyed it.
Good deal. So, I mean, that's really good because your homeschooling experience was initially with public school, and that's a good way to at least get your feet wet, like you said, and just, see if you can do it. The kids are in your home, they're with you all day. So maybe that's the first step, just the shock of having my kids with you all day long. And, but you're not educating them fully, completely just yet. So what were the dynamics for you all, if you can think about it? What were the dynamics of having that homeschooling with someone else, you know, public school, but in your home, but you're not, you know, maybe now you can compare it the first year to this. What was that dynamic for you?
One of the things we were struggling with most was that we were ahead on subjects and we had the freedom to go ahead, but once we finished the year's curriculum, we couldn't jump into second grade. So she had finished the entire curriculum for science and social studies by, I think, February and March. And so she still had to go to school until May, and we finished the entire year in April, and she still had to participate and log hours, although they were a little bit flexible. But we used Connections Academy. They were pretty flexible about when you could take vacation. So we did have a lot of vacation left over by the end of the year.
Okay.
And I would say the hardest part for me was we were teaching a Common Core based curriculum, and I have nothing wrong with the theory of Common Core. I just have a problem with the way they're teaching Common Core. Like, I still look at the Common Core like things and I'm like, okay, we're doing that. But the way the workbooks and the people are interpreting it, it's very, very difficult. And my child was not clicking with the math. So that was the kind of the other thing. And then again, I lean Charlotte Mason, so I wasn't enjoying the writing either. They were like, write a form letter, which is great to know how to do, but they basically would just copy the form letter. And that would be it. So they weren't really learning, they were just copying. And I was like, we can do copy work and kind of get the same thing until they're old enough to write well.
Okay.
I felt that was early the first grade.
Okay, so share with us, for those who don't know and not familiar with Charlotte Mason, can you give a description of what that looks like? What does your day, how does that flow in your home?
Okay, Charlotte Mason was an educator, I believe, I don't know, in the 1800s. I really don't know a lot about the dates that she was. And she really believed that if you gave a child good literature, not what she calls twaddle, and you read them out loud and you got them involved in a story, that they would learn a whole lot more. Also to use your math and your living skills. So like when we go to the store, I'm like, we got $20. Here you go. Figure it out. What can you get? And she also did a lot of copy work rather than writing. So she taught grammar by copying things down.
Okay.
And she emphasizes languages and memorization. So they work on some Spanish and some other stuff. So an average day for us, or an unaverage day or week. How about an average week? An average week contains 5 or 6 chapters of one book, 2 days of reading history, and we do a lot of biographies. We were in love with the Who Was, What Was series.
Okay.
They're written on a 3rd grade level, and they're fun to read because you really get to know the person. We do math every day. We use Professor B math as well as Life of Fred, which are both really, one's memorization based and they complement each other really well. And Life of Fred is silly. I'm just trying to think. We've read Charlotte's Web, Sounder this year, 100 Dresses. So we just kind of jump around what interests me and them. We've read Julie of the Wolves. And they've loved each of these stories for different reasons, but they are all well above their grade levels. So they're for them to read. We do a lot of science in our house, which isn't necessarily something Charlotte Mason loved, but it's something we love. So we're doing an astronomy textbook, but also if they ask a question, YouTube is right here. So we will just look it up and enjoy it. And then we recently joined a friend who, she's a minor in Spanish education, I believe. And so we've been meeting at her house, just kind of casually, all of us speaking Spanish. But before that, we were listening to, I think it's an adult CD, like I think Rush Hour Spanish we got for like $5 at Barnes and Nobles in the discount section. And they're picking up Spanish at a really good rate.
Wow.
That I've been really impressed with. So I think, and we do ballet and PE, and we go to a co-op on Mondays. I think that's about it.
Okay. Well, I mean, for what you're describing here in your day in school and your schooling day, tell us, what do you feel like you have found the benefits of homeschooling versus, public school versus online school? And then with that also, are you totally like, I'm done with public school, I never want to think about it again? Where are you at on that? So give us your benefits of homeschooling. Are you cut off from public school? yeah, give us that heartbeat.
I am pretty sure that Aeralind will never go back to public school. Bronwyn could go either way, and I'm willing to allow her to explore that if she wants to. Again, you've already met that she's my strong-willed kid. So if she's like, I want to go, I'll be like, see ya, because I'm not going to fight that battle. And then Sedryn could also go either way, but I mean, obviously he's a little bit gifted, so I'm not sure, but he can't sit still. He's super, I feel like he would be diagnosed in the school system with ADHD, but I think he's just a boy.
Right.
So he could go either way at some point, but I don't think soon I would do it. He's not reading on a kindergarten level, but he can at the same time tell you the pathway of type 1 diabetes, like how that occurs.
That is amazing.
It's sort of ridiculous and wacky, but reading is work for him, and it's way behind where the girls were in kindergarten. And I try not to compare them because he's gonna get it. So I prayerfully, we would go wherever the Lord led, I think. So I'm not closed off. We've had excellent teachers. I don't want to downplay that. They were amazing kindergarten teachers, and I would love them again. I'm trying to remember exactly what you asked about.
Yeah, what do you feel like the benefits are, have been for you, in homeschooling? So that's fine.
So going away from public school and online public school, the benefits have been to explore what we're really interested in as much as we want to. So we've done astronomy this year for our science. And so we have spent time outside with the telescope, and that wouldn't be an option in elementary school at Taylor's. Like, they might cover, oh, this is the moon and the moon goes around the earth, but it wouldn't be, this is Jupiter and the satellite that went around Jupiter is Juno, and it has about 58 or something known moons. I think it might be 62 now. And all of these things that we are able to explore science-wise has been, I think, probably the biggest benefit. So that science emphasis. Also being able to do math in a way that makes sense to my children instead of pushing them to understand this curriculum that they've chosen to use to meet those Common Core standards in the schools has been really key to Aeralind finally getting math. Math was really overwhelming for her. And now, she can count by 2s up to 10 and count by, I think, using Professor B, she can count by 3s starting at 2 to 10, and that kind of weird stuff that we have been able to do that she doesn't realize she's learning. And then she sits down to do a math problem and she's like, oh yeah, 3 plus 5 is 8 because I can count that way. So that's been a huge benefit, as well as allowing, again, my son to be accelerated where he wants to be accelerated and to let him lag behind where it's very difficult for him, to give him that freedom right now. So I think that's
beautiful that you brought that out and pointed that out, and that in homeschooling, what you're describing to me is that your freedom to go at your pace, stay where you want to be at. If you want to stay and hang out in one subject for a period of time, and you get to go at your own pace, and you get to go at the pace of your children. So you said your son, who is K-5 reading level, but 1st through 5th grade on all other subjects, he didn't have to be stifled in one subject just because he might be developing slower in his reading. And that is the beauty of it completely in homeschooling. So that was great to pull that out. What as you think this is your first year you fully homeschooling them yourself, what has been your greatest challenge?
Oh my word, when they're not doing school. Y'all, I love the school day. I could do the school day all day, except I also run a business and I also have to keep a house clean. So we could explore stuff all day, and it would be like the perfect life if I had a maid and a cook and all of that jazz. But we don't have that. Right. So I send, one of them just walked in, goodbye. Leave the room, please. The door was shut. You know the rule. Talk to daddy. There's another adult in the house. Go. This part of the day is the hard part. So I will sit down and, again, I run a business from my home, and I have to edit. And I do newborns, and that takes a substantial amount of time sometimes, especially if the newborn skin is off or they have baby acne or all of that kind of stuff. So it can take me 3 hours to edit a full session if the baby skin is really bad.
Right.
And I shoot between 4, and if I'm crazy, sometimes I take on 8 a month. But most of the time it's under 4. So I have to do at least 20 minutes of work, and I would prefer an hour because you can't just edit and take clients. You've got to do all that marketing and all that other stuff of work every day. And those kids can get into Lord knows what in that time. I'm having a hard time structuring that time. My genius son will take every straw and paper plate in the entire house and toilet paper rolls. He'll unroll the toilet paper and make some kind of roller coaster. Like, it's amazing what they can do, but then it's really messy.
Right.
So there's that aspect, and then the constant training. If they were at school, like I read an article, I think recently, that children disrespect their moms most because we are their safest person. So there is a lot of disrespect that they would not have done in public school. Their teacher would have said clean up, and they would have been la la la, let's do it, yay! But mommy says clean up, and I get so that aspect of training is almost exhausting. You're every day. You're like, excuse me, did you just drop that on the floor? Like, you can pick it up. You can pick it up. So those two things have really been the hardest. Is the free time. Is the door shut? See ya. No. I'm on the phone, and you're gonna leave. Daddy is here. Ask Daddy. Love you. Go ask Daddy. If Daddy can't help you, then you may come back. But you haven't asked Daddy yet. I can tell because you still have food in your cheek. Leave.
So you guys, you see, this is Mama 24/7 for most of us.
I'm gonna get up and lock the door. Actually, I'm not gonna close the door when you're good enough. Sedryn, can you get out? You can't even open the door. I'll be right back. You ask
okay. So, girlfriends, we are here tonight with Melissa Aldrich. She is the homeschool mom of twin girls, and her son, who is K5, and her twin girls are 2 years old. So we're just chit-chatting, girlfriends, getting her heartbeat and learning about her and getting some encouragement for you all who are in the trenches of it, just like she is and I am as well. So, all right, let's dive a little deeper on this too. Now, most homeschool families are one income. I mean, or we are figuring out another way to bring in the income and, staying at home so that we can homeschool. And you mentioned that you have your own business and the things that goes along with that. Tell us be really open with us and share with us, what is that like living on a one income, your husband's, main income, but yet working this thing that you love, that you're passionate about, and all that goes along with that, and then homeschooling and your house chores and taking care of yourself if you get a chance to do that. Hopefully you do. I mean, and the list goes on and on and on. Speak to these girlfriends and tell us, what is that like for you, Melissa?
Well, I'm really fortunate. The co-op that we have chosen is Artius Academies, and they're not as volunteer heavy necessarily during the school day. They do require volunteer hours, but I tend to get that through sewing for productions or being at productions, kind of taking a week off from work and doing that stuff. So most of my clients that I shoot, the kids are not at home. They're at co-op. And that's been wonderful. If I didn't have that environment to send them to, I don't have local family or anything. So I would probably be a little more helter-skelter. We also homeschool year-round. So we don't stop except for when we get spring fever in May. So we probably take 2 to 3, maybe 4 weeks off, depending on how crazy it is. So as soon as we finished our online our curriculum last year, we just started up again 3 weeks later. And just kept going. So that takes a little bit of stress off. I really only do it probably 4 days a week, not including, I do count co-op towards days because they are doing history and art and all these other things. But so I do take 1 day a week off if we're not into it or having attitude problems. The hard part, I guess, for me has usually been I guess it's just the stress of it sometimes. We had an extremely financially difficult 2017. Basically, everything that could break in our house broke. Mm-hmm. And our car was in the shop for, over $1,000 twice. Mm-hmm. So it was a really stressful year, adding on also the co-op expenses for 3, because the year before, she was involved in that co-op as well. It was only the one child. So adding on those expenses for 3, and we were just kind of hanging on to the Lord's provision. So it was a little bit stressful when I wasn't booking. That felt, both for my husband and me, there was like a little like honesty, like I'm freaking out here because I'm not booking, and he's like, I'm freaking out because I'm not providing, and I'm like, you aren't providing, like these are extras and things that are falling apart. And so we had to kind of work through that last year, and figure that out. This year has been like almost a reprieve, at least for the first 3 weeks of the year. And we're, I guess, in a better place than we've been in, I don't know, 18, 19 months with that. Let's see. Self-care is probably a little bit above house care. So I would say my house is probably a wreck in lots of places. And we were in the middle of a remodel when everything started falling apart. So I'm missing baseboards and things that people come to my house and they're like, do you live like this? And I'm like, yeah, like this is what we have. So there's that. And then, there's an amazing grocery service. I'm sorry it wouldn't work for you, called Shipt. So taking that off my plate, so it's Ship with a T on the end, that I just order my groceries the night before and tell them what time I want them delivered. And they kind of text you the day. And another homeschooling friend told me about that. And that has been amazing because taking 3 little kids to the store meant splurge purchases. So we've probably saved, I mean, there's a fee, I think, for the program. And then there's a small, like, I think they, like add 10 cents to every item or something so that they can pay the people who are shopping. But that has probably saved us at least 150 to 200 in groceries a month because I'm sitting down when I'm calm and I'm doing it and I'm not like, stop grabbing that and who threw that in the cart? And that craziness or everyone's begging you for it and the groceries takes 4 hours. So I feel like every bit of that was worth it.
Wow.
And that actually probably bought me some self-care time when I can just like walk and not, because we were doing groceries on the weekend or because it was just too much with all of them.
Yeah. Wow. Tell me again, what is that Shipt? How do you spell it?
Shipt. So SHIPT. And I don't think they deliver up to you. I'm sorry.
I mean, but that is great. This is for those who are in the Greenville area, Malden, Simpsonville area, I guess.
You can order from Publix, Lidl, and Whole Foods.
Oh, you order from the grocery store and then they go and pick it up for you.
Someone goes in and shops for you and they message you and say, they're all out of this kind of bacon. Would you take this kind of bacon? So there's a little bit of text messaging going on, which I don't love. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, you brought me my groceries. We'll deal with that.
That's a good deal. Wow. Okay. Love it. I never heard of that. So, so tell me, you just described to us, Melissa, that it was a hard year last year. It's very challenging financially. We just talked about, working on this one income. What is your self-talk? What is it that keeps you going, that made you decide, we are going to stick in this homeschooling? Because if people, most people who are going through a difficult time, emotionally, financially, or whatever, what is your self-talk that you have to say to yourself that kept you going through this year of difficulty?
Well, there was, I guess, we just kept trusting and praying for the Lord's provision. Like, you led us this way. We knew it was going to be hard in a number of ways, and it has been. But we know that this is where you had us for this year. Like, and so we're just going to keep trusting and trusting and trusting. And he was never late. He was never early though, but he was never late. So there was a couple of times where his in-law or my in-laws, his parents, helped us out. They keep kid emergency funds, and we had never used it before last year. And we were like, hey, I think we need some help. And they were like, here you go. Like, here's what we've saved for you, which is a beautiful gift. So I've always thought, oh, hey, when we're grandparents, let's save a kid's emergency fund. That's just a sweet gift that they gave us. But a lot of it would be, I wrote a note, I guess, to one of my clients recently, and I was like, hey, and she was a Christian. She had, requested some pictures of her newborn on a Bible. And so I was like, I just wanted you to know, like, I'm being transparent here, that the Lord provided Christmas through you. Like, our car was in the shop, and you gave us, and we don't do huge Christmas, but we do an experience for each child. And that lady, because she booked, gave us Christmas. So it was just a lot of like gratitude. Like, okay, he did it last time, so now that the roof fell apart, like, he's gonna do it this time. And now that the fridge fell apart, he's gonna do it this time. So there was a lot of that self-talk. And then I'm wired the same way my middle child is as far as stubbornness. I'm like, okay, we're hanging on. We committed for a year. Like, that's what we're doing.
I hear you. I hear you. Wow. Wow.
So,
wow.
yeah.
So, yeah. So let's, for all of you viewers who are out there, listen, this is good. This again is Melissa Aldrich with us. She is out of South Carolina, Greenville, a homeschool mom of two twin girls and a 5-year-old little boy. She is making it happen. And you all hit the share button and get this video out to your friends and let your friends see it. You never know what homeschool mom out there may need the encouragement, number one, or two, who are considering homeschool. They're thinking, oh my gosh, how can I do it? My life is just crazy, crazy. And then they can hear someone else say, oh, you got crazy too? Oh, I can do this. And it's doable. Or at least just to see the different ways and avenues out there to homeschool. So hit the share button down there below, get that link onto your Facebook page, and let your friends see what's going on as we transition into, towards the end of our show. So Melissa, take us to the worst day, if you can think of it, of your homeschooling journey. Melissa's 2 years into homeschooling. Her first year was through option 1 in South Carolina with the public schools. And so this past year was her first full year homeschooling. Take us to your worst day where you absolutely was ready to quit, throwing the towel, but you didn't. And that's why you're here on year number 2, making it happen with your kids. Tell us what that looked like.
The worst day is, it probably starts with me not following up with cleaning the night before. So I get up and I can't find anything because the kids have moved my homeschool books. So usually it starts with either that or me accidentally sleeping in because my husband was like, oh, sleep in, you can sleep in, the kids are occupied, which is nice. But at the same time, I'm like, no, you just need to, like, if you're leaving, you need to, like, wallop me a couple of times and be like, dude, it's time to get up. So it usually either started with my lack of discipline. So I'll own that. But it cascaded into usually bad attitudes. So 8 is a really tough year for females, I'm finding out. So my girls have been rather eye-rolly and attitudey and sassy, and they're starting to get a handle on sarcasm. So they're trying to use it, but they're using it the wrong moment. So moms are getting triggered, and so are dads, by this whole, like, learning sarcasm thing. And sometimes they mean it, and sometimes they don't mean it, and it's hard to tell that line.
Oh my goodness. So
it would follow with, the twins, like, losing their full minds and, like, literally, like, on the floor like toddlers, like, I know what to do, I'm calling it. And I'd be like, game over. And be like, go start on handwriting, because handwriting is my default.
Right, right.
Your handwriting book, like, if you're on a bad day, go write it all.
Do that by themselves
until your attitude's done. And then it would probably end midway through what I would normally accomplish in a day, with my son literally falling out screaming over reading. Like, just won't look at a word. He knows the word. I know that he knows that I know that I know that I know that I know that, and like, that he knows this word, and if he doesn't, there's no way he can't sound it out. It would be like cat or something, or in, a word that I knew he knew, and he would not look at it. And I'm just losing my full mind on him. So that would be game over. School's over till tomorrow. Sorry, kiddos. And then I did take probably a 3-month break with reading with him. I was like, I'm done. You just need to marinate for a while. I'm pushing you too hard. You're pushing back. You literally can't sit and look the word. And I just kind of, like, prayed over that and kind of, experimented with what might help this child get there, because he has all the skills. Phonics, phonetically, he's fine. Blending a word, if he will look at it long enough, he was fine. So how did I get through that? Oh, not always with grace. It might end with the ever-present threat of sending you back to public school, especially for the little one, because I was like, someone else can teach you to read. That just sounds cool. Like,
right.
I'll pull you back next year when you can read. But he's just not ready, and I knew that wasn't the right choice. One of those days did end with me driving over to the public school But it was in the middle of the summer, and I was going to visit the teacher, and I think I just wanted to scare him. Like, probably wasn't the wisest parenting moment, but it did scare him. So we were visiting her.
It worked.
Yes. But those are usually the worst. So I guess I would say to mind yourself, because mama really does like kind of control how it's going to go. Even if the kids had a bad attitude, had I been out of bed before them and had cleaned up their mess and had all their books ready, it might go better. And I do have to say that the video you posted about morning routine, oh my word, thank you so much. So I just installed that yesterday, and this morning was like smoother than butter. I mean, I still had to do like all the evil mommy, like, come on, what's next? What's next? What's next? Cheerleading all morning. But we did finish a lot of things, and we were go today. So we had to be out of the house by 10, and they finished their morning routine before then.
Yes, very good. So, very good.
That was good. And I'll probably read them to sleep tonight. So we'll get our reading in.
So you mentioned about having a lack of discipline, but tell us, do you have a daily habit? You know, because habit is everything. I mean, really is. Do you have a daily habit that you have incorporated in this your year of schooling, homeschooling?
I've tried a number of things. I struggle with habits, so I also have ADHD. So I struggle in that particular area. I just bought literally a Charlotte Mason like compilation of all of her writings on habits because I understand that it's really, really important. So starting the morning for me has been a work in progress for sure. We are getting there. Your help the other day was just like, I feel like that's the thing we're missing. Like I need them to work on something independently before I can switch that around, because I'm thinking about too many things in the morning. Like I wake up full on ADD. My brain will not be in the room.
Right.
And I can't, I can meditate, I can walk, I can go, if I get up early enough, I can go on a walk and I can center that, but I can't always do that. It's too cold. It's been too cold. So that's been hard too.
Yeah.
So I would say that habit is a work in progress. That's the, after the Lord has hammered dependency in my head, habit is the thing that I feel like is the word for 2018. So that's been good. I did put, one of the things that I did early on was put the schedule in the hands of my type A child, my super strong-willed child, who's also like, she's our least ADD child. And she will be like, mommy, today or next is math or next is whatever, like, and I'm like, thank you. So I have given her kind of that leadership role over the time where I'm teaching, like, hey, Bronwyn, grab me the next book, because she demands a leadership role. That's her personality. And to give her one helps her siblings' sanity. And also it helps me. So I'll let her use her skills for that.
Yeah. Wow. Beautiful. Ladies, this is Melissa Aldrich. She is putting it down. Let's see if we're going to get some more insights from her. Here, let me ask you. Tell us, what is the best piece of advice you have received during this homeschooling journey?
Oh my, that's really hard. I would say I have a couple of good friends who may or may not be watching this. One of them's in your homeschooling association. Her name is Allison Garrison. And so when I was really, really struggling with my K-5 son in reading, I was like, Allison, number one, I asked her, am I expecting too much of my kids? Like, here's my daily routine. Is this too much? And she was like, no. And I was like, thank you. And then I asked her about my son in reading, and her son didn't start reading really well until this last year. And he's the same age as my daughters. And she was like, set it down, honey, set it down. So I think the willingness to set it down would be something key. Like, if something's not working, it's okay to walk away from it. And that's not normally my personality. I'm like, let's finish this. We started it. Let's finish it. We had to bounce. We had been doing one just Professor V math, but my one child was getting bored with that. So we had to bounce over to Life of Fred for a while and take a break from that and then go back, because she was so every time we did math. I think the other piece of advice maybe that I would give is to be vulnerable enough to say, I'm struggling with this. So I guess a couple of weeks ago, a good friend named Chelsea, who lives in your area, I think she actually knows you, she messaged me about something, I think business related, I'm not even sure. And I replied with, I'm so sorry, like it's been a tough season. And she asked, you know, what's going on? And I just told her about the struggles we've been having with kids and chores and responsibility and the training of them. And she was like, me too, honey. And I was like, wait, I thought you'd arrived. You know, like your kids are awesome. And she's like, yeah, but not at home. So that willingness to be transparent and say 8-year-old girls are hard. Like it's just hard. Has been like really key to finding encouragement in this journey. Like just saying like, it's hard. I'm about to kill my son about reading. It's, you know, like, you know, whatever it is, that would probably, so a lot of little pieces of advice, but all of it started with the whole being vulnerable enough to say, I don't know what to do.
Gotcha. Tell us, where's your husband's journey? Where's his part that he plays in your homeschooling journey?
I think one of his love languages is words. So to listen to him talk about me has been really encouraging. So he will say in front of me and the kids, like, your mama's job is harder than anything that I do. Mm-hmm. Like he will take that and like say that, like she doesn't get a lunch break. She doesn't, even get a regular paycheck, you know, like, so that's been really sweet for him. He's been willing to do, he loves to hike with us and he loves to like do little educational field trips with us. So he's kind of our fun guy for sure. Definitely fun. But he doesn't do a whole lot of the schooling unless I hit a roadblock and I need a sounding board. So he's really good at that too. He's, hey Melissa, you're expecting too much, or hey Melissa, talking me off a cliff, whatever it is, because I tend to like run passionate and he tends to be like steady, really steady. But he's also been really good about allowing us, like when we're doing a car trip, to just read. So we'll sit there and read, and he would rather listen to music, but then he'll like add his insights at that time. So we'll read usually history in the car because he likes to add insights to that, and science. And so he'll be like, hey kids, did you know? Right. And they're like, oh, Daddy's so cool. So mostly though, he's just like holding me up and holding me accountable, I would say. It's his good places. Beautiful. What is your why for homeschooling? Oh my, that's a really difficult question. I would say, if I had to put it in words, I want my children to be fully equipped for what they are made for. And that looks very, very different for each child. And that's one of the reasons that Charlotte Mason was really, really appealed to me. So yeah, I think that would be it, that I just want to see them fully equipped for the work that the Lord's given them. That's short and simple. Yeah. All right. All right, Melissa, here we go. Are you ready for the $1 million question? Uh-oh. Yay. Although you're very new to homeschooling, if you had to start all over again with your current knowledge, wisdom, skills, experience, what would you change? What would you do differently? I would start with a morning habit like you have. That would be different. So I would start that all over again. They seem to enjoy it this morning, and it's kind of varied. I let them play piano, which is like a huge thing for them. So I would start with that for sure. That foundation, like that, sets the tune of your morning without you having to be in their face the whole time. As an introvert, it's so cool. I don't know. I think that I would be quicker to reach out to homeschool mamas who kind of like speak to me. That's been a real struggle in certain places to make homeschool mama friends. But the few times that I have been like, I need help, those mama friends are the ones who are like, I've got your back and this is normal and that. So I think I would be vulnerable faster with the journey. And then I think I would also probably be, if I could start all over, a little less insecure about stopping and starting, or pushing a kid in one area and not pushing them in another. So I'd be less insecure about my son who can multiply but can't read. You know, I would be like, okay, this is just this is just how he's wired, and I don't understand it, and God's done that, but he's gonna get there.
Yeah.
Like, and the same with the twins have their own like quirks of great at and not great at. One of them's Aeralind is an extremely gifted artist, and probably has a good future in music if I kept her at it. But she just got into reading, but I would be less insecure about the fact that she couldn't finish a reading chapter, because I would know she's gonna like one day pick up a book, and like we were doing Girl Scouts, which is her world favoriteest thing today. So we're individual girls, so we're not affiliated with the troop right now. And she literally like drifted off, picked up a book, and started reading, and I was like, it came. So I would be a little less insecure about that. I mean, it did. I was like, you just became a bookworm. Like, I'm annoyed with you because I'm trying to do something with you right now, but you like picked up a book over listening to me. So yeah, those three things probably.
Beautiful, beautiful. Melissa, you've been great, great, great. Thank you so much. Let's see, any last words of advice, and how can homeschool moms learn more about your business and what you have to offer as a photographer?
Oh, okay. Last words of advice. Again, be vulnerable. Be vulnerable. Read some Brene Brown if you don't know how to be vulnerable, because that's a struggle for me too. My business, I am www.quietgraces.com or Quiet Graces Photography on Instagram and Facebook. I typically shoot newborns. There are a few like session types. I guess February 5th is coming up. A milestone Monday, which would be all ages, any age you wanted to bring in on that Monday. And I would be willing to do other things, but ask. I can always say no or refer you. So I'm real quick. One of the things I've learned, I guess, in business and in homeschool is to be real quick to say no if you're not comfortable doing something. So I guess that's another final piece of advice. If you're not comfortable volunteering that day at co-op, you say no. If you're not, comfortable doing a certain client, you say no, but here's someone who does that exactly like you want it.
Yeah.
The boundaries are really important, I think, for a homeschooling mom who's quote unquote doing it all. Because I'm not.
Gotcha. Well, girlfriends, you have been, just remember, you are the average sum of the 5 people you hang out with. And this evening, you've been hanging out with Melissa Aldrich. So keep up the momentum and connect with other homeschooling moms who bring value to your life. And just remember, girlfriends, that to remember to teach a child is to touch a life. And as we homeschool, we not only touch a life, we shape the future through our efforts of homeschooling. So keep making a positive impact day after day, year after year, as you homeschool your children. Thank you so much. Again, this is Angela Jordan Perry, and it is my desire to make a positive impact in as many thousands of homeschoolers as possible. Thanks for being with us, girlfriends. Until next time, we'll see you next time on Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. Have a good night. Thank you, Melissa.
You're so welcome.
We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.